Blessings, it's RaeRae here. Today I'm bringing you this video to uplift, to bring light, positivity, share my experience in heaven, God, and our purpose here on earth. So today I'm going to be talking about that one time, when I went to heaven. No, for real. I'm going to be talking about going to heaven. What was it like? My near-death experience. Touch on religion, spirituality, and reincarnation. And it's probably going to be 2 parts to this video because it's a whole lot to compact. But here we go. Let's get started. Well, I wanted to get into it real quick. I'm explaining my spirituality and the way that I believe. That I consider myself to be in spirit and spiritual, which is having the love of God around me and using his grace in all aspects of my life, like being compassionate, helping others, listening, being a good friend, being a good family member, and building connections. I guess that's building connections with others. I guess I could have just said that. So I used to be super religious, Southern Baptist, that's where my family's come from. That's where I got my foundation. And it doesn't matter your beliefs. This is for everyone. Even if you're atheist or Buddhist, Hinduism, whatever your religion is, as long as it's based out of love, it's all right. And I'm going to pause that. And I'm going to loop it back around because I'm going to go into detail later on in the video. So in this part, see my cat? Disrespectful. So in this part, I'm going to be talking about my NDE, near-death experience, which I call the beatation. So September the 2nd, 2014 was the best and the worst day of my life. Gotta take a breath. So on that day, me and my mother was attacked and she was murdered. She was shot in the stomach and in the head, and I was beat with the bat. From that moment, I got to experience heaven. Heaven is everything you could dream of times 1,000. So there's levels to heaven. Just like you can go up, you can go down. I don't necessarily believe in the hell term, but I'm gonna use it because that's what we've been taught. So that's what I'm gonna go with. And I'm also gonna summarize because I don't know how many levels going down because I didn't go there. I'm not sure about that, but this is the knowledge that was given to me once I was there. So starting with the lowest level of heaven, that's where the lost souls are. That's where it's the absent of light, which means evil, and the lower energy beings, demons, that's all where they reside. And like I said, it's levels down. So I jumped a little ahead myself. Let me go back to the beatation. So with the beatation, before I was attacked, my grandmother came to me and she was in her 20s, but I knew it was my grandma. And before I say this part, I want everyone to be aware that when you transition, because there's no such thing as death, we are lifelong beings. And so when you transition, however your personality here on earth, you're still the same. So if you were funny, go lucky, cracking jokes, you're still the same. Or if you were serious, you pretty much, you are who you are. So when my grandma came, she came to me and she was in her 20s. And she said, she knows she looked good. And then she was smoking her Ken 3 ultralight shorts. And she was like, baby, come on. And I remember looking up at her and it was this bright light. Just imagine being so close to the sun without the heat, but you still can see, which, go with that. So she was like, baby, come on. So I got out of my body with my grandma. I was like, okay, granny, let's go. And she was like, no, baby, we gotta watch. And she grabbed me by my wrist and said, we gotta watch. So I watched him, my attacker, do things to my body. I watched him hurt me, beat me. And after he was done, I went to go see my mother one last time. and me and my grandmother transitioned to heaven. And at this point, I know that we was together at this point, but when you go through the tunnel, I guess, you feel alone, and it's complete darkness. And even though seemed like a split second, that's the scariest split second of my life, let me tell you. So in that split second, surrounded by nothing but darkness, you see this light at the end of the tunnel, and it's so bright, and it happens like whoosh, and then you're there. The intermediate level, the entry level, that's where I was. That's where you go to meet your family. You're transitioning over, and you still could go and you can come back. So then you're flying high above, like you see water. It is so crisp, blue water. I mean, this color I've never seen before. Everything is intense. Everything is times 1,000. You feel love. You feel this overwhelmingly love, like however much you love your kids, parents, family, you feel that times 1,000, and it's the best feeling in the world. So then once you get to your stopping point, it's like this meadow of garden. It's actually, garden is a better word, because it's fruit. It's, even though we don't eat in heaven, sidebar, okay. It was just beautiful. It was beautiful. And then I was greeted by my whole family, great uncles, grandmas, and you knew everybody. Oh, hey, cousin. Oh, hey, you know everybody, and you just feel complete. You feel happy. You feel loved. And my dad has passed on too, so I was greeted with him, and he told me what was happening to my body, what was happening, like, oh yeah, by the way, this is the afterlife, kind of thing. And in the intermediate level, this is also where my mom was. So for example, if you were sick here, you had cancer, lupus or depression, or you experience horrible traumas here on earth, when you die, it don't just vanish, it don't just go away. Like in your mind, you're still sick, you're still hurt, you're still going through those tough times. So they send you to this place, kind of like a hospital or rehabilitation center, and the angels heal you. They give you what you need so you can enjoy heaven. You can be the better version of yourself at this point. And that's where my mom was, and from what my dad explained to me. So, and then also too, in this intermediate level, like be like. So Christian, what I mean, like be like minds are with like minds. So if you're Christian, you're gonna gravitate to the Christian. If you're atheist, you're gonna gravitate to the atheist. If you're Buddhist, you're gonna gravitate to them. And Hinduism, and whatever you are, that's where you're gonna gravitate to. And it doesn't, just because, oh, I'm a Christian, so I'm going up here, and oh, you're an atheist, you down here. That's not how it works either. Because like I told you before, every religion, every belief is, as long as it's based out of love, it's right. You are going up at this point. And then what makes you go to different levels of heaven is, did you show love? Were you compassionate? Did you help others? Did you give?
I forgot to add, did you fulfill your purpose?
Not did you go to church Sunday? Not did you praise and worship? Now, did you sing a song last Sunday? Did you give love? Genuinely give love? Did you genuinely show love? Did you genuinely help humanity? Because that's the purpose of being here on earth. So you and God align with your soul plan, and you come here to earth to achieve the goals that you set out. That's your purpose. Your purpose is to give love. Your purpose is to help. Your purpose is to be compassionate. Your purpose is to see the mistakes you made, learn from them, and don't do it again. Graduate. That's your purpose. So
In this part, I'm trying to explain
your soul, your
our
spirit,
soul
your heart, your
plan, why we
soul,
choose to come on
is
earth,
involved being
and how our hardships we go through, if we learn from them, it helps us evolve to a higher level of heaven when we transition.
conditions and that's hard. So once you overcome them and you get the lesson, then you graduate to a new level. So basically, picture Earth like school, and we're the students. And so each, you go to kindergarten, you graduate, you go to first grade, you graduate, you go to second grade, and so forth and so on. And each level you keep going, and then what happens if you get to messing up? You got to redo it. And so the whole point of learning these lessons and getting it, that's how you get to a higher level of heaven. And that's why you choose to come here. Going through those life experience is not to demean you, or not to like, oh, you got to have this hard life to get to heaven, because that's not it.
God wants us to enjoy life.
I'm not saying that either. Enjoy life. It's all a mindset of how you look at things. When you vibrate higher, when you manifest things faster, God hears you. Not saying when you're vibrating low, God don't hear you, but you have to bring those vibrations up to manifest what you need. So what I mean by that is, let's say you're depressed, you're suffering through anxiety, you're worried. I know I'm a worrier, which I'm working on that now. Because I need a plan, I need this, I need that. And that's not how life works or God works. Because then you're in our small minds, we're boxing in what God can do for us. God like, no, I have this mansion over here for you, and you over here thinking about this small apartment, and it don't work like that. So vibrating low at this moment, you talk with your angels, you pray to your angels for guidance and help, and then they can impress good thoughts, good things that you need to bring your vibrations up. So then you can communicate with God. You can make stuff manifest, because there is nothing in this world that you can do, be, or have. Know that. If you don't take anything else from this video, take that away. There is nothing in this world that you cannot do, be, or have. If you believe and in your soul, because that's what we're here to do. But the world has jaded us and has blocked us so to where we're worrying, we're thinking, we're blocking our blessings, is what my mama used to call it, blocking your blessing. So the next level we're going to talk about, heaven, is the highest level, and this is where you want to be. And at the highest level, that's where opportunity for souls to grow spiritually, you can be in your leisure. I mean, you can be in your leisure each level of heaven, but and there's no such thing as time. You do what you want. So my granny also helps others. So especially her family, her youngest son, she tells me often that she is there with him, she's there with his kids, because sometimes she has to uplift him, like, or if he gets a thought like, oh, maybe I should do this one day, she's saying that was her. She was like, but he ain't got to give me the credit. And so the highest level is where you can be at leisure, even though you can be at leisure at any of the levels of heaven. For example, my granny loves to fish, so she fished. She showed me her boat. The water was just so crisp, and it was just so peaceful, and there's no time there, so you can do whatever you want in any level of heaven. But especially there, then that's when you and God create a soul plan. I'll explain that later on, but you'll get it all. It all makes sense in the end. If you choose to be a spirit guide, and what I mean by that is, if you choose to come back not in human form, but let's say your family member is depressed and needs some encouraging words to vibrate higher, you impress on him, you got this, you can do this, or whatever you impress onto him or her to vibrate higher and make, like, I feel better. And so that helps you get to a higher level of heaven too, because your purpose don't die once you transition. You still fulfill purposes there. You still do. You're not just sitting up there chilling like, oh yeah, I'm walking on the golden road, I'm chilling, because that's not what it is either. And then you have the celestial plane, which is divine beings. Is up the level where it's pure. There is no mistakes. It's pure love. And so that's the level where Christ would be, Buddha would be, in God, goddesses. That's the level that they're on. And not to say you can't attain to it, but I doubt you can attain to get to that level. So next we're going to talk about reincarnation. And I know that it goes against other people, some people beliefs, but hear me out, listen. And like I said before, if it resonates with you, then it's for you. And if it doesn't, that's fine too. So reincarnation is where the soul decides to experience this human, to have the human experience again, to learn knowledge, wisdom, so forth and so on. And there's so many misconceptions that happens with reincarnation, because in the same breath, I've encountered people who don't believe in reincarnation, but then believe, oh, in my past life. How do you have a past life if you didn't reincarnate? But pause, I digress. So reincarnation is basically the soul aligning with God in itself, to want to come back into the human form, to experience knowledge, to gain wisdom, so you can evolve to a higher level of heaven. You're gonna go backwards to the soul plan. So you don't just, oh, I want to reincarnate, like I died yesterday, let me come back. That's not how it works. You have to work it through, and you create a soul plan. And what I mean by soul plan, it's like the blueprint that you and God decide on. Like, okay, God, I want to overcome addiction, because maybe in your last life you missed it, you messed up. So I want to overcome addiction. I want to do this, I want to do this, and I want to learn compassion. I want to, whatever your purpose is, you and God align. And sometimes as a soul, a spirit, we do too much. We want to do too much. Like, God, I want to do this, and then God, whoa, wait a minute, let's bring it back. Let's be realistic, because I still want you to enjoy life. So with this soul plan, you also choose your family, you choose your friends, you choose your enemies, because it's almost like, okay, this is gonna happen, or not necessarily being specific, like, okay, you're gonna slap me one day, and that ain't how it works. But you guys decide, okay, I am gonna teach you this lesson, because it's a lesson out of that. Like, if a physical altercation, it's a lesson before that you want to master. And that's a part of the soul plan. You choose everything to a certain degree, because we still have free choice, but overall the purpose. So I want to choose X, I want to choose this. And the only time where the soul plan gets a little altered if a person commits suicide. And I'm gonna talk about that in my next video, because there's so many misconceptions with that too. I mean by that, we still have the freedom of choice and things of that sort, but once it aligns with God, and God is like, okay, and you choose to come back to in this earthly form, to try again, to do it again. And not saying you have to experience the same thing over, because that ain't it. Because you could have mastered what you came here for and then transition on, but still want more, still want to do more. It's all a choice. Because then even you can go over there and realize where you want to be. Because I was happy with the entry level, and then remember, it's heaven. So any level of heaven that you're on is great. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful feeling up until you start to, go down where it's lost hope. There's no hope. There's no love. That's when it becomes a miserable place to be, and you don't want to be there either.
It's really hard to go down, but hate will take you there.
And you've created this soul plan that he agrees to, and you choose to come back in this earthly form to do life again. And also another misconception with reincarnation, that you're doing it because you failed. That's inaccurate. You do it because you want to transition to a higher level of heaven. You want to experience these things, because in your last life you could have mastered what you set to do. Like, okay, I want to help on this, and you master, you transition, and you're in this higher level of heaven. Maybe you want to go higher. You want to do it. It's all choice. And so even if you're at a lower level, but you love it. Like, okay, I made it. I'm here. You don't have to do this experience again. It's all a choice. I wanted to touch on really quick too, if your mom is in this level of heaven and you're on this side of heaven, y'all could still meet and have moments and stuff like that. I don't want it to make it seem like, okay, I went to this level and I can go visit this. It doesn't work. Like, you can visit, go and come, but you gotta go back to where you, I mean, but you're drawn to wherever part you're at, and so you don't want to leave it. You just want to be better and do better. That's it. So in this part, I want to insert a scripture, Psalm 139, 1 through 24. I want you to pause it right here. I want you to read it and then read that with new eyes after everything that I just said. And then if it resonates with you, then it's for you. And if it's not, again, that's fine too. So pause.
To summarize it, God knows you. He knows your moves, your thoughts. He designed you. And it's such a high knowledge to attain. You could never be away from his spirit because he got you. He knew you while you was in the womb. All your days were planned and written in his book.
Okay, I guess you're back now. So I'm gonna be looking down because I'm gonna read it, not all of it, just Psalms 139 verse 6, just because it'll summarize my whole point. You saw me before I was born and scheduled each day of my life before I began to breathe. Every day was recorded in your book. That means your soul plan that you and God create, then you come here and you strive to achieve it. You strive to be the best you can be, so you can evolve to a better, higher, not better, higher level of heaven. So I get asked a lot too, how do you know your purpose? How did you find your purpose? I'm not gonna lie, I had a little help, dying and going to heaven, kind of helped a sister out. But if you're lost and you're confused, you have to, it's cliche, you have to silence your mind. So that's where meditating comes in, a big part of meditating, silencing your mind, because then once you meditate, it makes you vibrate higher. It makes your energy level go up. You can hear from God. If you silence your mind, or God, whatever you believe in, higher power, source, you can hear the higher beings, which angels, ancestors. Vibrating low is going to take you further away from you trying to find your purpose. And what I mean by vibrating low, that's depression, anxiety, not having high self-esteem, not being sure of yourself. That's vibrating on a lower energy frequency, and that's not where you want to be. And it's easier said than done. Like, well, how do I vibrate higher? What you mean?
You do it by focusing on things that makes you
Thoughts
happy.
are beings, thoughts is energy. So if I'm thinking these negative thoughts, I'm attracting these negative thoughts. And so to counter do that, to vibrate higher, I sing a song. Mm-hmm. And then I can't dance, so I end up cracking myself up because I do something and then I start to laugh. And that's how you vibrate high. And you purposely do that, and then before you know it, you're gonna subconsciously, you bring your vibrations up. And then once you bring your vibrations up, stuff you can manifest, you can hear God, you can hear, you can see things clear. And that's how you find your purpose. And so what's my life after the near-death experience, after going to heaven? Can I speak to the dead? Do I have gifts? And yes, I can see spirits that's transition, spirits that are lost. I could also see higher beings. I can interact with them, and they have helped me along the way. And even in this human form, I still mess up. I still fall short of God's glory or the glory that I want for myself. You know, my human mind blocks things too. So they help me to get back in line with my spiritual self, my higher self, because sometimes I need a little help, just like everybody else. And in another video, I will really go into details about my gifts and things like that. I was diagnosed with lupus, and it was not, I wasn't doing so good in the incident of the betation. And really elaborate that because everything I keep bringing up is so long, lengthy. But a miracle happened. I was suffering, I was dying, kidneys were shutting down, having heart attacks, lost my hair, going through chemo, and I came back from heaven better. The doctors have no idea what happened. How did this happen? God happened. So I really want to elaborate that in the next video, talking about miracles, because miracles do happen. God is real. And if the takeaway is that love yourself, love others, be compassionate. And right out.